ASTRO Open is brought to you by ASTRO, Monster Energy, Corsair, Zowie, and Intel.
We are back in Valencia with game number 2. Look at this beautiful city, and we walked past that yesterday. We had a look at that in real life. It's as impressive as it looks on screen, but not quite as impressive as that trophy right there, the DreamHack ASTRO Open trophy.
I'm really enjoying it.
We are back here on the analysis desk, and before you... let me introduce my friends, Vendetta and Jacob. Hi, guys. Go ahead.
I'm just so eager to get a second chance.
Yeah, go for it.
Like, I was almost out of it, you know, got put over to hosting for about 30 seconds. Yeah. Got my second chance at life. No, really excited actually to see what awaits us really for this matchup. We had I would say, pretty massive upset in the first round, or first game of the day. So seeing CLG, NRG, both with, you know, not necessarily roster changes on CLG's side, but at least, you know, changes to the team as a whole. It's going to be fun to see how they play out.
Yeah, definitely an NA matchup. These guys have played against each other a lot, right?
They have, and now a Dane is included in the lineup for NRG, right? So that's exciting for me as well. As you said, like, it's going to be interesting to see how CLG managed to come out of the loss of Imaped as a coach. You know, that could be a confidence breaker. Same for NRG. They got in ANJ, which is a big Danish talent. He's a very strong individual player, but they haven't performed with him yet. They've been actually lackluster. So it's like two teams with each their problems to fight with right now. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top.
This is our first of the games from Group B. So let's have a quick look on the screen of how this group is lined up. Obviously, we have this first game, which is our sort of NA plus a couple of a European in there, CLG versus NRG, and then later on we have like the Swedish matchup, which is NIP versus
It's got to get those
Red
domestic
Reserve.
matchups in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Early on, because they always create so much chaos. That's what we like. We like chaos.
It's good though, isn't it? A nice rivalry. I like that. I like that. And we're going to see that rivalry up in this first match. Do you feel like these guys are going to be pumped for this?
Yeah, definitely. There's always like an additional part of pride that comes into it. Obviously, you just want to be better than any opponent you play versus, but if they're from the same place as you, then yeah, you want to have bragging rights for sure. And I think, especially for a team like CLG, obviously they want to showcase the fact that they can still stand on their own feet without the help of Imaped, and they've had, honestly, like a pretty steady climb up the rankings, really, just steadily improving, taking down scalps, even taking a map off of SK at the last DreamHack. So, you know, they're definitely showing promise, so they want to make sure that that continues.
Let's have a look at the players on CLG for the guys at home who are not so familiar with this lineup. Let's have a look at the guys who are getting ready on the stage now.
It's all players that you know. It's players that's been around in NA for quite some time. The in-game leader FNS, who has lately, as of lately, gotten a lot of praise for his in-game leading. You know, Thorin and other big personalities have talked him up to be a potential candidate for C9 before they actually started to play well. You know, so he's showed that he can work with the players he have. Last tournament, we saw Ricky going absolutely crazy for CLG, who was one of the main reasons why they played so well, along with Kusta, you know, that double up setup. Those two are definitely the hard hitters for CLG. So it's players that you know, it's players that we know that can do big stuff. It's just, it hasn't been consistent yet. It has been like on a NA level, and then like, you know, they've shown glimpses of it in Europe, but it's still NA, you know. So
it's on an NA level. No, but I guess, you know, that's the benefit of then going up against another North American teams in their opening game. But what's really cool about the CLG squad is, again, you mentioned the fact that one of their biggest strengths throughout this rise has been the double opping from Ricky and Kusta. But normally when you see teams rely so heavily on having double ops working for you, is that they oftentimes fall when they get off to bad starts. They don't get the economy rolling for them, especially on CT sides. It just becomes a complete mess where you have really poor buys, you don't have the utility you need. CLG somehow still manages to be extremely effective with going, more or less towards that double op as quickly as possible, even if they get off to terrible starts. They can get off to an 0-7 start, still manage to bring it back just because of the structure and the base that FNS is set up around them. Also the fact that the guy on the screen right there, Ethan, has been doing a really, really good job, actually, for being such a newcomer into like the international scene. He's been playing really, really well. And obviously, when you can't necessarily rely on your oppers to bring you back into the game, riflers like Ethan and Cutler are going to be a massive part of what brings you back into it.
Another part of that is as well that Kusta had a period where he actually played steady with the rifle. You know, he had a 3-month period with CLG when they were in like the shambles where Cutler was actually opening and Kusta played with the rifle, and he did well, you know. And same goes for Ricky in when he was playing with the Renegades guys and joined CLG. So they both played the full-time AWP, and they both played the full-time rifle, so they have experience with both, you know. And that's why I think it's so strong for them, and they can actually, like, as you said, like it usually is a problem for double AWP teams to climb back when you don't have the economy for it, but they actually manage to do it well.
Yeah. And if we head over to the other side of the stage now, we have their opponents, which is NRG. What can we make of these guys?
I mean, these guys are a bit of a question mark. Obviously, first off, because they have a new player into the lineup, they've swapped out Lilman and brought in the Dane ANJ. The question mark for me has always been the fact that we see a very different NRG team online than what we see on LAN. And during the Pro League last season, they were doing remarkably well. It was one of those teams that I constantly expected to kind of drop off and not make it to the finals, but you know, they managed to make it through. And then obviously they have a not that great of an actual offline event, and that's kind of been the curse for them. They also had a terrible showing at Copenhagen Games, where if you're a team like NRG going to that kind of event, you'd expect to at least get top 4. And they crashed out way earlier, and ANJ, funnily enough, won that tournament. But yeah, no. So it's kind of a question mark as to where they lie in terms of how they can perform in offline events, especially with being a fairly new roster. Because I think you mentioned that they played like 1 best-of-3 with ANJ on that team. At least in official games.
And I think they lost that to a team called Miami Flamingos.
Yeah, Johnny Boy and those guys.
Exactly. So not like quite impressive at all. It's a mystery to me, because when you look at the players, like Debs is a well-known in-game leader.
Absolutely.
You know, he played with Optic Gaming for quite some time and did well with them. PTR, like to me, he's probably the most war-talented AWPer in NA. For some reason, I don't know why it doesn't like really work for him, but it works for him in periods, like where he just goes absolutely crazy. You saw it in Pro League last season, where I had to play against him like 2 or 3 times, and he was like ripping off.
He was topping pretty much every category you could for an AWPer for the better part of the season, and that's even when NRG were dropping games and not necessarily winning everything. He was just always the standout performer. And also one of the guys we haven't mentioned yet, Breeze. I think he is one of the best up-and-coming players, honestly, just in terms of being a well-rounded, all-around player in North America.
Probably been their best player, like as of lately as well, you know. So to me, it's like it's a mystery, because when you look at the lineup, they have skilled players, they have great players. I'd say like if you pick player by player, like hold them up against CLG, I even say like NRG probably have more raw skill than CLG has, but the result is just not there, and they're not playing well for whatever reason.
Yeah, it could be obviously if they're not able to put it together, you know, after a couple of months being this 5, you might see, you know, certain individuals from this team actually getting picked apart to create another team that actually goes on to have a lot more success.
As we move into the vetoes, you can see on screen now, we can see that NRG have banned Train, and then Inferno was banned by CLG.
Yeah.
Obviously, the map pool in America is very similar. They all kind of know each other. They have a very similar choice of maps.
They do, and I'm feeling...
Is there any map here that kind of will hinder, or...
Well, will hinder?
Or either way, vice versa, will...
I think both of these teams are going to or could feel comfortable with Mirage, but NRG are actually going to decide to take that out.
What's the thinking behind that?
Probably a wise move, because CLG is a great Mirage
team. That's
the
thing.
Okay.
Because even though both teams are comfortable on it, this is the map where CLG actually managed to take down SK. That's no small feat. So for NRG, it's probably more of a safety pick in that sense. And they've been fairly safe in terms of how they've progressed with their vetoes so far. So going into Overpass, that's, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily actually call this even playing grounds either. I like watching CLG play Overpass. I think they're actually a pretty damn good team on Overpass as well. So a bit worried about NRG there. But then again, they kind of had to choose between leaving Mirage or Overpass. So I guess it's, you know, pick your poison at that point.
Of the two of them, probably the better pick, right? But we saw CLG last DreamHack Summer tournament taking down Gambit, I believe it was, on Overpass, you know, in an overtime game. And Gambit is notoriously known for being a great Overpass team as well. So it's not a bad map for CLG at all. But it's also like part of being a new team, having a new guy in, like NRG, they just brought it ANJ, so their map pool is not, like sometimes when you change a player, first of all, your map pool change, like suddenly you get a player who are not familiar or not like comfortable with a certain map, and you have to change it up for him. And second of all, like you just have to renew yourself sometimes, and NRG know they haven't been working well enough as of late, you know, so it could be a time where they say to themselves, okay, we try some stuff out now, and then we'll be back for the second half of the season, you know. So I think interesting to see how well they fare already with the chains.
Yeah, it seems that down to Twitch chat that CLG, they feel like at home that they're really going to come out on top based on the voting. That's who they think is going to win. Who do we think is going to come out on top? It's not going to be that clear cut, right?
You know, as always, I'm kind of leaning. You know, I'm agreeing with Twitch chat here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they're never wrong. I think actually in the first game, didn't they actually say that they picked vote for KPI? Yeah. So you know, they're 100. Yeah, you and Twitch chat again, 100% so far.
Me and Twitch chat.
Yeah.
All of you.
But
Every
no,
single one of you.
Still one of them. No, but I can't really shy away from CLG. They've had the more impressive results as of late. Again, NRG, completely fresh team off the bat. This is going to be the first line. Actually, this is going to be the biggest tournament that ANJ has played at.
For sure.
Because previously it was Copenhagen Games, won that, but that's still one of the the very few BYOC lands you have left in the circuit anymore.
Yeah.
It's a very different thing when you get inside a booth, you have a crowd watching you the entire time. I mean, well, you would know. Like, there's a completely different scenario in how your mentality works when you get into that kind of a situation.
Yeah. So official prediction.
CLG.
CLG from Vendetta. Jacob?
I'm leaning towards NRG, actually.
Oh, really?
Wow. Okay.
I don't know why.
I'm excited to hear the reasoning for this.
It's like I feel CLG, they did well at DreamHack Summer. They went back home, you know, and they played horrible, and can't remember what qualifier it was.
Was it either Atlanta or Malmö?
I think it was Atlanta, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, it could be.
Or
They lost to
one
Orange.
of them, yeah. They played not well. And it seems like, you know, losing a game like they did in that qualifier, losing Armapet as a coach, you know, it just seems like that broke them a little bit. I don't know. I feel like NRG have a great chance, at least, of playing up against a CLG, who should be the better team, like, by all means, having been together for quite some time now. But I feel like ANJ, and also spoke to ANJ like that, I wouldn't say they're confident, but he's like very amped, and he wants to win this game, you know, and I sort of believe in my Danish fellow right there, because he's a great player as well. So I would like to see some success for him, and I honestly also believe that it's going to be now.
That's awesome. A split analysis desk.
Well, we need the prediction master himself.
To unsplit it, I'm actually going to go for CLG. Sorry, Jacob.
That's
I'm going to go for CLG because that's what Twitch chat said. No, it's not only because of Twitch chat, it's because I think they, last time I watched them in person was at the America's Minor, and I think they performed well. I was very impressed with what I saw there. So we are going to now hand over to the casters, but first let's have a quick chat with them, shall we? Lauren and Scrawny, are you there?
Yeah, I thought it sounded like you didn't want to have a chat with us, James. I was a little upset.
No, I always want to chat to you, Lauren.
All right, now you say it on
How are you?
No, I'm good. Look, I'm all aboard the Kusta fan club, so I'm very excited for this matchup.
What are your predictions, guys? Who do you think? Because we're very split here, actually, like surprisingly so.
Yeah, I think you just got to give it to CLG. NRG are fighting against so many variables, unfortunately, that it would be a surprising victory. Again, I think we can paint a picture for certain individual players, but for all that to kind of cohese here and now, it'd be surprising. Just like a KPI upset.
Yes.
Well, there is that, right? But no, yeah, I think this is a CLG game. I think they can rise to like really high occasions, but I don't think they're going to need to this time. You know, normally you question like if Ethan turns up, you can see them actually really pushing like higher tier teams, but I don't believe in NRG yet. I want to, because I know what you're saying about like when Peter turns up, like he is sick. But he gets into his own head if he has a bad start, if things go wrong, you feel it could fall apart. But yeah, lots and lots of variables.
But they do have that Danish edition.
The Danish Dynamite. Do you believe, James? You didn't even predict them, so don't even bring it up as like a counter. Like
no, I'm just causing conversation.
No,
I tell you what, let's leave it there.
We'll have a chat later, James. All right?
Let's have another chat later. Enjoy the game. Thank you very much.
More than welcome. Thank you very much, guys. Obviously, they did paint the picture pretty well actually coming into this one. All the different variables, and I think you highlighted it well. That NRG have so much potential, but for all of it to come together at the right time, you're asking for a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, you again, like not to just keep continuing bringing up this KPI thing, but it's an exact same situation. They have an uphill battle, and it could be there. Whether or not we're going to see it, the odds should be against them. So I think CLG, I mean, they're just, as far as domestic lineups go, they have been kind of this promising hope for North America as of late. Not just on an individual level, but also, again, with just like the core team as a working unit. Imapet's removal could be one of those things that sets them back a little, but I do personally have faith in FNS as well. I think he understands how to use his players properly, and that Imapet gave them depth in terms of knowledge about their opponents and themselves.
Well, it's more that speaking to a couple of the players, FNS has had to pick up a lot of what Imapet did, so he's having to focus on that. But right now, and as of late, because of the major happening, because of a lot of events in Europe, North American practice is actually pretty hard to come by. Like, very good practice, because most of the North American teams are already in Europe, because we know that, well, NRG have been over here for a while as well. So for CLG, they've been struggling to get that really nice practice that you need, especially when you've just lost out on someone who does a lot of the kind of behind-the-scenes stuff like I'm a Pet. So, with him joining over with the Optic boys. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I think that's a factor that could maybe hinder CLG a little bit, but they have a lot of the basics down, as you said. They've done the groundwork. And for me, all I want to see is either Ethan or Kusta go off. I think Ricky is someone who can also do the same. I think FNS does what he does just fine. I don't think he's meant to be the player to have a big impact.
Yeah.
Same with Cutler. I don't think mechanically he's that player who peaks that high, but he makes up for it in other ways. He's a very cerebral player, very smart. He approaches situations well, and he does it for other reasons. So again, those two, I don't feel like they need to. But between Ethan, Ricky, and Kusta, one of those three, hopefully two, turn up, because then you get a sick game. Then you get that terrifying double AWP.
Yeah.
And on the other side, for NRG, you've got to hope that, one, ANJ is a good game for him to get confidence coming into an event like this, get himself, feeling like, hey, I can play on the big stages. I'm not just one of those players who, I do well at BYOC when I bring my own setup to LAN, right?
Yep.
Like, this guy is good. There's no taking away from him, but you've got to prove it when it matters. Peter as well, highly emotional, super volatile player, has a poor start. You rarely see him recover, but I'm talking of a Peter from yesteryear, right? I haven't seen this guy on a stage like this in a while, so I'm a huge advocate for this guy. I remember him being a team with like Pitt and people like that. I was a huge fan. I wanted to see them do well because you see that potential show sometimes, but it just slipped away. But we're about to get this one started. CLG up against NRG. The North American showdown is going to be underway. On the T side, it will be CLG, and NRG on the CT side.
Battle of the acronyms. As we come in with a bit of utility for the T side, Finesse looking to set his smoke and flashbangs. Breezy over towards the B site with teammates aplenty, looks for that initial duel and almost costs himself as he's dropped down to 14 health. He cowers to the backside of the bomb site, but that's going to elicit a rotation, if need be, up towards the A site. At this point, NRG just having to kind of turtle up and allow for the terrorists to do their thing.
Yeah, Ethan kind of leading the way over by A long. They're going to be joined by the bomb at this point, but that's going to be Ricky and Kusta pretty far behind. So Fugly again going to be having to just kind of deal with what's on the other side of the smoke without knowing too much. We haven't seen much of a rotate out of the players on the other side as well. So ANJ and Fugly are the two players who are going to have to hold back these 5 players about to come through that smoke on long. One flash to set it up. Imagine FNS is going to put that through for them any second now. Here it goes. So quick one over, goes towards Bank. It does get Fugly turned. ANJ can still see this though. He can still spot this one out. You can hear the shots coming through, and Fugly didn't back away. He tried to hold his ground. ANJ does connect one, but swiftly, surely can be overwhelmed. No, he fights his way out, but Cutler finds room to work.
Gets into the bank side, shakes another frag, and a third. Cutler making quick work of the CTs, but Daps swinging it back with one of his own. Kusta, 8 health. Ricky planting bomb. Both players starting to line themselves up, but Kusta deciding to tuck tail. He's going to cower all the way back towards bathrooms, trying to flank this around, so Ricky needs to buy time. He needs to keep Daps' attention. Daps waiting for the wide peek. And now trying to take the fight as he gets ever closer. Continuous damage, but he's down to 4 shots, and Ricky blasts one through his head to take the pistol to CLG. I love that smoke play over towards long A. Again, Fugly and ANJ are up so close, but they don't call for the whole rotation because they're not sure of the numbers.
I'm more curious that none of them went to bank early, and Cutler got this much room to work. As soon as Fugly went down, they had like 2 or 3 players on the rotate. Of course, it takes a little bit of time, but no one played in towards bank. So as soon as Cutler got down towards that side of things, he tore him apart, and he's not exactly, the instant in your face, USPS god. So he found that room. He made that happen for his side. Those kills pretty much got him out of what could have been a really tricky spot. But 4-player stack from NRG towards toilets here. You've got a big presence. Upgraded pistols, bit of armor, couple of flashes. I like it. I like the approach. You can pick people apart pretty easy on this sort of front.
And unfortunately for CLG, having no players over towards Monster side is not going to net them information, so they could easily walk into these players, at least the first 2. And Fugly's going to get flashed out. Great team play, but it does not work. Finesse and Ethan able to combine and deal with the first threat, but Peter's the next threat, and he too toppled. So the T side of the 5v2 making good work versus these pistols.
I like that from an anti-eco of any variety. Even if it's a forced up sort of pistol round, I think that's the best way to do it. Goes a collective, goes a pack. Ricky was, ANJ, that's a shot. FNS goes down, but surely no more. Surely they don't all just face in. All right, Ethan's got it under wraps. Daps now playing back in again in this situation, this time all alone from the very beginning, as when we go down in the hands of Kusta. Fakes it out. Still curious if one's come around the back, and yeah, they put Ricky in towards underpass early on. He's essentially holding the back flank, but Daps does strike well. catching out Ethan, making it a little costly. Ethan did only have the Galil, if I'm not mistaken, so not the worst thing in the world to lose out on, but still a rifle. Dap's still looking for more, though. No kit this time. But any more damage is brilliant. More guns away, force that reinvestment, keep CLG pretty humble on this. Even though they have got a plant, Kusta could be the next victim. He is. Daps, good work again. That's a recovered gun, a UMP, not the best. But now you're down to the last 2 real rifles for CLG. You don't want to lose these out at all. So, Daps going to fall off this. And Ricky will find him. But yeah, overall, just the way CLG played that out, you know what was, almost knew what was going to happen. Ricky playing through Underpass in that situation, having no eyes, as you highlighted, towards Monster or Short, essentially means that they're going to commit fast. If there was a quick maybe stack towards B and they rushed it, Ricky could spot it out. The rest of them just going to play quickly up long and leave it there.
Double Mac 10 from Cutler and Ethan, so just looking to make some cash here. Of course, the fact that they get away with at least 2 of those AKs is ever so crucial. Double flashbang from ANJ, and again a stack from the CT side. Cutler going to start to spray down players as Kusta takes 2. He's going to get the second mag in, and even at a distance needs a little bit of a help. Kusta lends a helping hand and leaves ANJ.
Let's be honest though, how many of us know the Mac 10 spray at that range?
I am not one of those people, I have to admit.
No, neither is Cutler, neither am I. So don't worry about it. He was just there like, please, just die.
Just work.
Long. Yeah, I just need one more bullet. But yeah, ANJ, anything is good. But he could actually get a good spot on this. Like somewhere maybe, like play on the edge of Monster. It's really obnoxious when players do it, but he obviously doesn't know how far ahead they are. So you might just be able to kill Cutler at this point. No, Kusta gonna go right on through him. 4 kills for Kusta. Nice bit of confidence building. He can drop that rifle off now to whoever he wants. Maybe look towards an AWP soon enough and get that going for the CLG side.
PDR gets his hands on one, so Pete ready to go. And Kusta as well. Cutler's gonna actually hang on to that Mac 10, so I'd love to see him try to get some early connector control. Obviously, Overpass with connectors, just so crucial. Opens up every door to the map. One, quite literally, but ANJ is going to go contest this as Pete positions himself towards party.
Yeah, this could be a head-to-head as well. Kusta's on the stairs. He's just tucked down. You can just about see him. Peter chooses to back away just as his support does as well. So everyone falls back off this one and all kind of calms itself down again. So you're going to see CLG taking over that map control slowly but surely. Ricky there working his way up with FNS and Kusta. And 2 through Underpass to clear this out. Again, it's probably going to be a pretty hefty A hit, just considering the pace they're going in. And I don't know why NRG are so dedicated to having so many players here still towards B. No information gathered either.
Very reserved round here from NRG. You could see how Pete wanted that initial peek, but he's been pushed back, so now has to just lie in wait and hope someone steps forward. Of course, the T side getting a little low on utility. They hang on to those triple smoke grenades and still some Molotovs to clear out A site if need be. Here comes a bit of grenades, but PDR still wants this pick.
He has to make impact in this as well. They're down to 40 seconds here, CLG. They've got to pick up the pace soon, but Peter's not going to move. He has support in this position. Oh, he's committing towards this. This is brave or stupid. We're going to find out pretty soon. FNS does go down. Good flash to follow. Tries to find a bit of solace in the smoke, but no, Ricky tears him out of it. And ANJ, too much to handle. Cutler does put that Mac 10 to use. Good trades, but time is running low.
Fugly still up close, spots the barrel, but Kusta spots his head and takes it clean off as Breezy rotates in. He gets removed, and it is just Daps yet again to the backside of Dumpster, now towards the bank, looking for something to play off of. Now, of course, no kit currently on him, and 3 targets on site. Great entry there by CLG. Pete really could have locked down bathrooms had he connected that second shot, but he gets overwhelmed, and as does ANJ. Just great execution from CLG, perfect timing. Daps still looking for something, and he will take Ethan's head. He's going to further the fight towards the boxes, but Kusta shuts him down, and that's a gun round in the pocket of Counter Logic Gaming.
Big round 2. Very important for those guys to get it on the board. Start feeling out the game for themselves. You got to feel for Peter in a way. That could have worked out for him. As you said, it's just one of those things. Sometimes you'll commit and you'll find 2, and you're like, I've done exactly my job. He finds 1, gets instantly flashed and pressured, and then you're leaving ANJ very, very isolated on A. So it's those fine margins, isn't it? If it goes right, it goes really right. If it goes wrong, not so much the case. Again, however, the same sort of eco round coming from NRG. They like this kind of stack towards toilets. I don't blame them either. It's, you know, nice close quarters. Get those pistols at the optimal range.
And one thing that Peter did get the chance to tell me about before this match went live is that, of course, they had that boot camp in Europe as of late, so they've been putting in the time, they've been putting in the effort, and he's mentioned that they've actually created a couple of plays that they've never used before. Thanks to the inclusion of ANJ, he has some fresh ideas, and everybody on the lineup has been vocal as of late, with Daps obviously leading the charge as far as calls are concerned, but hopefully we continue to see these sorts of setups, even with just pistols. You never want to see a team just passively sit in bomb sites and allow for their opponents to overwhelm them. They try to take these forward spots, and FNS is able to clear out the first. Drop to 17 health as Ethan is removed to the 4v2, and Cutler is going to look to grab the next one. But still, greatly done here. Some damage and at least a little bit of pressure to keep CLG honest.
And more importantly, to my eyes, is that Kusta's off to B. He's having none of it. He's like, look, I want a bomb plant. I want more money for myself. And I don't want that many pistols in my face. So I'm going to go plant this bomb, get a nice after plant position. Everyone else can get set up. Yeah, okay, Daps might be able to survive with a rifle, but they can send someone after it. Maybe Ricky, if he fancies going for a little look. He is, but the wrong way around. Oh, God. Oh, God, that's awkward. Daps could have taken a second longer, but who knows how that unrolled. So, 4 alive. All is well. CLG going through the motions so far.
Importantly, going through the motions without many losses as well. Even in rounds where they've lost players, they've been able to keep some utility. So very, very little reinvestment. I mean, this round here, 900 for Kusta, 3 for Cutler. This is chump change at this point with a 5-0 start. But NRG back to the gun round. Again, we saw PD try to do something over towards the A site in the last purchase. This time, he will try yet again. But
I like the aggression, though, from the CT side. They're actually trying to make a play through towards water. That's perfect. That's a new look. And then they've got ANJ playing connector, so they're relatively safe. This can make it very hard for CLG to get past. They just need to take early fights on it, too, and utilize early utility. So when that site hit comes in eventually, it could be quite tricky. Ethan's actually going to fall off this. They're going to give up some control. Now, I wonder if they're going to quicken the pace towards A because they know there's a stack towards B.
Yeah, the bit of the ruckus there created by NRG could clearly indicate their setup, but Fugly and ANJ are still over here. They could pinch the players on party, but ANJ, attention trained in 2 directions. And terrorists creeping by him. Fugly inside the washrooms. He knows what's up here. He senses it. So he drops the smoke grenade, falls further back. ANJ's going to clear out connector, and this could allow for that rotation, but Fugly already gets removed. Luckily, ANJ can bring up the rear of the train, and he does drop Ricky back, but here comes CLG, or so they thought. The Molotov convinces them to just linger a little longer.
Yeah, ANJ's making this really uncomfortable. You can't rotate that way any longer. They might be able to try long. They still have the AWP up as well with Kusta and some mollies and smokes. They can hit this A site really nicely, but it's tricky. It's very hard to make it work because ANJ can call out information too. He gets the whole picture, so they should know it's going to be an A hit coming through. Peter lands one towards Ethan. The mollies come in, but he still finds room to operate. Flash goes out, tries to set up his teammate Daps to make a play, and it's a good flash. 2 blind, and now ANJ can come back in.
Yes, he finds further impact as well. Kusta with the AWP, able to catch one, but he's all alone in a 1 versus 3. Time clearly against him with 5 seconds on the clock. He desperately wants the bomb plant, but he's going to get pinned in and killed before time comes to a close. So still, again, all of the money here in the hands of CLG, but more importantly, a first round on the board for NRG, and they keep enough players alive to reinvest quite easily.
Absolutely imperative, but ANJ, this guy right here in Underpass was a true hero. He played it really well. He didn't play out too early, and even though he's getting kills, it was more the fact that he bought time, didn't overcommit, he made it uncomfortable. So 1, CLG couldn't rotate back towards B, which they wanted to do early on, and then 2, he could just be a nuisance. He could constantly be a threat in the back line, so they had to commit a player towards it. But anyway, into this round, double AWP on the T side. Now, I'm not surprised seeing this, but it's just a little unique to others. Just the fact that it's Ricky and Kusta. And if one of them goes off, the other seems to just feel it as well. Ricky can be a game-changing player with that thing in his hand, so wait to see what he can do down the line. But for now, a default from CLG. Just want to feel it out. No need to rush, but double AWPs on both sides means for an interesting game at least.
I love the amount of space that CLG will sometimes give Ricky to do his thing, because if he's feeling a certain play, if he gets some kind of an idea and is allowed to employ that, then as you mentioned, he can be just so impactful. So it's Daps with the double AWP for NRG, and he tries to peek out wide towards Monster. Ricky is going to catch him. So the 5v4 on the table for CLG, and Cutler on the boost, looking and prying in for information, but doesn't want to lose his head just yet. That advantage ever so valuable.
And just looking at what the T side has left, this could be that quote-unquote Astralis style hit, right? Just seeing where Ethan is. These are very close to their lineups for it. I'm wondering if they're going to do something similar. We'll see if they do that very smothering hit with the smokes and the mollies that come in perfectly on it. And yeah, it is going to be this one. Fugly and Breeze going to have to deal with this. As the it's pretty good. Breeze now gives away a spot, but he does do a little bit of damage towards Ethan, but hyper aware. You can see FNS already on the case. Not going to let it get away from him. Peter surprising from above, taking down 2 with him. Kusta up close and personal has to find the reply. The bomb is planted, but it could be a possible retake. They're going to go for the boost. Oh no, they don't go for it in the end. It might be a little bit tricky now with Fugly so low on HP. Peter might want to keep hold of this AWP as well. And yeah, I don't know how much more work they can get done here on the NRG side.
I mean, nice hold by NRG, able to just at least slow down that execution. We can see Peter rotate down towards Graffiti and find a bit of impact with his AWP, but unfortunately they weren't able to dwindle down the numbers of CLG, so they still walk away with a man advantage. And while NRG could have gone for this, because it's their only buy, because they're low on grenades, they decide not to risk what remains. I mean, Fugly 12 health, sure he's got the kit, but what are the odds of him surviving and Peter retaking as well? So I'd say right call, but unfortunately for NRG, it really puts their back against the wall.
And remember how this started as well, is that very slow default throughout. Ricky gets a great pick. You kind of almost don't want to play against these AWPers in that sort of manner. You play into Kusta or Ricky, you're probably not going to win it like that. There's other ways you can play. You know, Peter provided great cover there. The 2 kills he got on the site were really, really big. That made it almost possible, but you can see what's happened to the money now as well for NRG. That's why it's vital they even just kept these 2 guns up. Only one other player can really afford anything right now. So again, Daps and ANG are going to be suffering. Peter, going to go for a little walk around. Timing going to be a factor. He does have support on long, but playing quite far back, actually. No one's playing actively with him, so he's taking a real gamble on this.
Did this exact same peak last round as well, once more with no long A pressure, so he's wary of it, but the flashbang goes over. Does, of course, reveal some presence. Pete looking for the peak, but it's Kusta who catches him on the party. Rains on his parade and takes the 5v4. Of course, one crucial weapon now dropped from NRG leaves them on just the 2 M4s.
Look, Kusta is the party. He is the party. Just give him an AWP, set him away. 6-1. It's just the way he AWPs is just ridiculous sometimes. Just watch how he does things. It's just filthy. And sadly for NRG, with them operating on so little, you were almost banking on the fact that Peter was going to deliver then. You were hoping he maybe got a kill, could fall away. You know, you're just hoping for any of those small margins that can make big differences. For now, though, CLG are just taking their time. They know, one, we've got loads of utility, we don't need to rush this. The bonus being, I guess, for NRG is they have someone like Daps in a really good spot. He can kind of call out the rotate so they can maybe put additional players over towards A early. But they still have so little to play with. That's the shot and a half, though. They need one more. He does it. ANJ putting up numbers here. Keeping NRG in this round. Not recoverable yet, these guns, but finally does fall. We're down to a 3v3, but it's way more likely.
And only 20 seconds left, so Ethan's starting to get boxed in. Daps takes him. Cutler tries to create space as Ricky finds one frag. Cutler's gonna cower with cover, but Breezy removed from the side of the dumpster. So that M4 could have gotten into the bomb site sooner. Again, we mentioned that positioning from Daps over towards the door, but Breezy just not being able to get up there in time. And even though ANJ is able to buy time there towards bathrooms, great pistol play from him, really drops the bomb in the process, and time was of the essence. So very close round, but not enough.
For me, it's not necessarily just that ANJ's landing some of these shots. Like, some of those are really nice with the Deagle. It's the fact that his intentions are great. You can see how, like, mentally he's trying to put his team, even with such a disadvantage, in a good spot. If he gets maybe a kill, 2's brilliant. Whatever he can do, he buys time. He allows that additional player to come back over. Maybe they can stack it out in the right place. He's kind of putting himself further forward as an early warning system. He was just really good at it. I like his mentality at the moment. I don't know how long that's going to go on for. And considering they're sat at a pretty disastrous scoreline, this is a good time for that tactical timeout. It's a time to just kind of step back a bit, rethink things, put yourself in the right place, and try and find an answer here. So far, they're being overrun by CLG. And if a couple of players just, start running at them and just, they don't need to play that kind of more humbled game. If they can just, deathmatch their way through it, that becomes an issue. Because then you've got to, 1, you've got to tame them, 2, you've got to then start playing your own game. It takes too long. They've got to come back into this hot. Now, this round's not the one to do it on. They're going to buy to about 2K. It's still pretty low. So NRG's money isn't phenomenal. But hopefully it's going to be enough in the next round after this so they can actually get a good buy-in.
Yeah, unfortunately, barring that one round where ANJ is able to come in from behind, deny the bomb plant, and put it on the board for NRG.
What a good read from CLG.
Perfect.
I don't know if this is something they actually fully read. Like, they've watched demos. You saw FNS then talking a lot, so maybe it's something they're aware of, but yeah, unfortunate for NRG.
One of the things as well is that NRG, every time they've had pistols, they've actually grouped up towards bathrooms.
Yeah, they've had the minimum 4 there, right?
Yeah, so as far as depth is concerned towards their eco strategies, we haven't really seen all too much. We've seen with the half-buys, maybe players trying to push up into short water and attempt the duels in that position, but as far as full vanilla ecos, it's just been these bathroom plays. So CLG with a read, and it pays off. I mean, 10-man bomb plant, not a single threat in the world. Kusta and Ethan looking to clear their flank as they know.
It's actually pretty scary to exit this way, though. You can just stay at the left side. You don't need to go further than this, but you can see the swing's about to come out. He's like, oh no, flee. 20 HP, not gonna have that fight. You don't need it. Ricky's the only one to find a kill there, and for NRG, it's frustrating, I can imagine. You just go for a bit of a gamble, a bit of a stack, try and make something happen for yourselves, and then still just long, straight-up walk through Monster onto the bomb site, no problems. And it's going to be another eco coming out for NRG. This is such a painful game to watch.
Again, 4-man toward bathrooms. Exact same situation.
They won't do it twice.
At least this time they are able to put some players towards connector as well, so they've got that wall of defense. ANJ has paid off dividends in this position, and he looks to do so yet again. With a bit of support, Fugly on the Deagle is ever so close, so that does leave Breeze alone on B. And it's only Ricky in that direction from CLG. He's just playing over towards the monster, hoping that somebody oversteps their boundary. As Ethan and Cutler look to pinch towards connector, bomb included. 2 players here again for NRG to deal with. Fugly up first, and he gets instantly removed. Ethan preemptively striking, but ANJ taking 2 is going to get caught with a mag in hand. It is Ethan with the trade frag and a 3v3 back, but NRG are here, and they've got AKs, and they take another fight. It's Daps with the next one. Ricky caught off guard. They've done it. At least so it looks. It is just down to Kusta in a 1v3, no bomb.
He's going to have to walk into the lion's den, and he knows it. So many angles are so hard to work with. And there it is. Peter holds the impossible angle to reach, recovers the AWP, and it will be a small sigh of relief for NRG in this one. That was brilliantly done from them. Again, though, ANJ, this guy is been pretty much the redeeming factor. His CZ work here just basically hindered the support system. Those coming in to try and bail out the other players. So very well done to him, just to ensure that once they'd got that bomb down there, once they'd done all that damage, no one's getting it back. But the money's still okay for CLG, so NRG now need to make it count in the gun rounds.
We're not going to see that aggressive angle being taken by Peter. What we are going to see is that double op setup yet again. Now, last time it was punished as Ricky was able to shut down Monster side, but once again, CLG just playing a much more focused approach towards the A site. It is just Ethan prying in from connector, and even he is alone this time round. But he has that upset fresh on his mind, so he's looking, hunting for ANJ, who's actually over here towards the bathrooms. Peter next to him with the op, both of which trying to grab this opening frag.
The timing then. Ethan didn't get spotted, and now he comes back for it. Both of those players could have seen each other in such a worse time, but they do make it out favorably towards NRG. And oh no, ANJ this time doesn't get away with murder like he did before, getting those 2 kills with the Deagle. That was what you wanted to see. But now, with him falling, it's down to a 4v4. So they're just going to hit the brakes for CLG. Maybe just have a little look around. They've still got 40 seconds left. They don't have the connector control, which is a problem. They don't know if someone's down there already. They don't know if they've started to rotate. And you can maybe imagine NRG still want to get a little bit of advantage. But I don't think they're going to get much out of this one just yet. That build-up on long is happening. Cutler been working his way through. Molly goes back in towards bank, and now time is starting to tick. We're down to 20 seconds here. They're going to have to commit towards this, and they've got to go now.
Fugly to the back of the dumpsters as well, so they're not looking to lose players in the execution.
They've got 10 seconds.
Bomb is ever so close to sight, but it could just be wall-banged at this point. Finesse going to try to punch it in, and he will.
That's a team molly. Oh my god. CLG, watching you play this game is sometimes terrifying, but it kind of works out as NRG are crumbling. They have the players in the right place, but they just can't seem to find the shots they need. Daps, you got to do it all, and nothing is happening. Finesse in the end does lock it out with 4 and retains that rather dominant scoreline.
Yeah, retaining the lead and also putting another reset into the hands of NRG, which obviously is not a good spot for them. That's now 2 unanswered rounds once they're able to find 1 on the board, but hard to deal with. I mean, you bring up the ANJ pistol plays. Not only that 2K towards the Deagle on bathrooms, but also, again, with the CZ towards connectors. So maybe they're able to find some impact. It is him with the Deagle yet again with the guns around him. NRG putting everything on the line, as they have to. The score, 7 points, the favor of CLG, but Breezy able to grab one frag already. Kusta trading it back, and Cutler trying to pry for some kind of a play here. He's going to swap out that MAC-10, grab himself the AK, but he's fully flashed, and the CTs have disengaged. For the most part, Breeze still sits next to sandbags, ever so close as the smoke is yet to fade.
The thing is, though, for CLG, they have no step towards bathroom, towards long, towards anything other than connector and B. Unless they back now, unless they start working their way right about now, they are in real trouble just because of the map control. They don't have much of it. They do have that decent hit towards B with the mollies that they have. They know they can fall back to this. I'm just wondering what the call is now.
Not many rounds, actually, where we see CLG worry about the entirety of the map. Quite confident in their execution. Say last round when no one's over towards connector side, no one's keeping an eye on B. The same case here, but it's not going to strike fear in their hearts. They're going to push on in. Fugly gonna get shot at, but he does find cover. Cutler taking Breeze, but it's up to Fugly to line 2 through. Cutler's down, Fugly with a third, and it is just Kusta. So NRG have actually denied the execution, but Ever So Lit are 3 players, and it's not gonna be enough. Fugly bangs him down. Big plays on the B site. Fugly holds the line.
They kind of forced themselves into that. They had no step towards the rest of the map, so there was very limited options elsewhere. But more credit to the boys who are already sat on B to be able to deny that hit. It's not easy to do, but oh, that's just uncomfortable, isn't it? Ethan and Cutler, no one checks on it. And while Finesse is shooting someone else, just gets absolutely taken down. And yeah, Kusta in the end only had 10 HP even at the start of that hit. What are you going to achieve with that one? And the money's finally depleted for CLG. It's taken a long old time to do it. Double up back with NRG. Maybe it's time to turn this one around, but the molly goes in. Nade to follow. Oh, that's doing damage. Ricky, Ethan, and Finesse, the walking wounded, but now it's going to be a bit of a bloodbath, but actually it's going Ethan's way? He gets 3 with the Tech 9. Are you kidding me? Smoke towards upper. They're going to get the bomb plant as well. Now, Peter's pretty close by, but he's going to be forced off this. He needs ANJ to get here. He's got a gun now. He's going to be en route. They've got to play retake together.
ANJ very cautious with this approach, though. Gives a lot of time here to the T's to reposition. Pete wants this peek, but nobody just yet. Ethan, ever so aware, but now as he oversteps that boundary, he's been dropped. It's Kusa, 13 health, and ANJ about to creep forward. The flashbang doesn't work, and it's still not enough. ANJ takes the frag and the defuse to boot. So NRG able to grab another round. Great little hold there towards the B site, despite Ethan's best efforts on that Tech 9.
Him getting 3 is ridiculous, but yeah, great play coming back in as well from this point. Yeah, no one was basically facing him. Like, he just powered through the Tech 9. I get it is what it is, right? When there's 5 players coming towards you, I guess it's not surprising that one might be able to slip away somewhere. But still, for NRG, this is the road to recovery. If they get the last couple of rounds here now available in the half, they're actually very viable going forward to be able to do something about this. But it looks like, again, they want to quicken the pace for CLG. A lot of players towards short here. One player, which is Kusta, over by the stairs, still controlling map presence. So now they can actually back away from this. They can utilize the underpass area, which is now his next worry, his next concern. But they can also pinch on this from the other side. So they're keeping options open. They're not just going for that all-in hit.
Could get boxed in, though, if we see Daps get aggressive through the monster, but smoking it off instead does leave them over towards that far side. So even if now short control gets forfeited over, at least they could box the players on the bomb site, depending on where Daps decides to exit or if he decides to fight. Fugly still holding a more passive angle back towards Graffiti. Now, it was him who came up big within B in that crucial round not long ago. Notably taking the position of Breezy in that moment inside the actual water. Now, of course, Breeze has been having a difficult game so far. Only 2 frags currently, but it looks like they tried to bail him out with a little help from Fugly, and it worked out. But Peter's shot goes astray as CLG aim for A.
ANG is here, though, so should be in safe hands. But Peter's now surrounded. He can't actually back from this. I don't know if he realized they could get up towards that sort of position that close, and Kusta and Ricky hit this hard. They didn't slow down for a second. Ricky even gets a follow-up too. The site is theirs. The bomb's going to be planted. Daps is locked out. And you've got to feel a little bit then for Peter. You kind of got pinched in that situation. You want to commit to one of the two, but he had no advantages anywhere by that point. He needed one of those shots to land, but not the case. And ANJ just completely ate the flash there. Daps going to fall off this one. One reclaimed from CLG off the back of, I guess, Kusta going walkabouts. Getting that far up long, having no one really fight him. Just a good call throughout, and they back away from that B hit. So it looks like maybe that default play, that little bit of a more cautious approach from CLG starts to pay favor at this point. But still, there's plenty of answers for NRG here. I just want to see a little bit of someone else providing a bit of fire here for NRG.
I'd also like to see a bit more forward A presence with guns. NRG clearly on the CT side are not shying away from it when they're on their ecos. Yeah. But to get your rifles pushing over towards long A to prevent any kind of a presence towards Fountain, that can be so important on the CT side of Overpass. Launders actually has an incredible good video about exactly that, about how to play the CT side of bathrooms, because you can just so limit your opponent's executions. I mean, how many times now have we seen CLG execute in with NRG cowering behind Prime, sitting behind the dumpster over towards Bank? Where's the long A presence? Where's the actual bathroom peaks? Sure, sometimes it's PDR with the op going for that aggro play, but then they so quickly fall back. They shy away from hanging on to the control, and CLG, because they've changed pace, because they've been playing this slower route, it's clearly paying off for them. I mean, again, 2 players for NRG push forward, one of which has already gone back towards site.
It is incredibly hard, though, to find that perfect balance of how to support each other. It is very uneasy. So now, Peter, if only he had a real rifle, that could have done so much more. You heard the dink early on coming out. I can imagine that was ANJ doing that. But it's very hard to have that cohesion playing in this area. You're a complete dependent on each other. Now, ANJ going to just try and spray and trying to hit something with that deagle. Every shot misses. But Daps not going to be the same. Daps is going to land one towards Ethan. This slows it down. This hinders it. But they've got so much room. The thing is that as well, especially if they'd actually been able to do that aggressive play on the CT side, push up a little more, they could have punished the fact that CLG have been a little bit stack heavy on sometimes. They only had, what, Kusta doing that once towards, that slow play towards A. That could have been exploited way more, but it wasn't. But if only NRG knew that, they could have stacked the right sides, quick flanks, you'd get all those benefits with it as well. But what we see here is the fact that, well, they were down to minimal players anyway. They had a lesser buy. You can't really apply it to this situation, but this retake is so tricky. Even with Ricky very, very low on 3 HP, you're going to need some god-tier performance. Ricky already going to find one. Finesse sprays for the second, but Fugly spot noted. No kit either. Cutler merely puts him out of his misery. And speaking of misery, an 11-4 scoreline. I've got to say, I don't think it should be this one-sided. I expected a little bit more of a closer game, at least on this half at least. I wanted to see a bit more, because I know that CLG is good on this map. If you can get near Gambit, let alone beat them on this, you get a big tick. You know what I mean? That's like, okay, you're fine. You know, even no matter what state Gambit's in, you're able to do that, no worries. And if NRG are willing to walk into this, you've got to hope there's something there. You know what I mean? You've got to hope that they've got something in mind. And I didn't see any aggression. I didn't see any quirky plays. I didn't see anything that kind of changed how I felt. I was thoroughly impressed with ANJ and how he approached that half. I like what he did. Peter had his moments, but again, you know, it's just a bit quiet. I want to see Peter having those games where it's just, you know, a hot game, you know?
And the thing I think is that the B site was just very stagnant in its strategy. I mean, you mentioned ANJ. He played great towards connector. He had some nice plays where he's supporting the bathroom players, and it was there that we saw the most amount of success from NRG's CT side. Never do we see Peter actually change up a position and go towards B for an aggressive pick. Yeah. Always was it over towards Party. Just looking for that duel versus Kusta, looking for that initial pick, which is very classic and kind of not intuitive, not very dynamic. So because of that, we see CLG just stick to their bread and butter. Again, as mentioned, no flanks ever come through, barring, of course, that one round from ANJ himself. Holds on to connector, and it works out. But maybe it's the T side that NRG were relying on. They will have utility from Daps. And the second half is here, just boosting up passively, looking for a pick.
So Cutler's the linchpin. When he feels pressure, he needs to fall back, but then it means he isolates the 2 players in towards underpass. But this is basically set up to really pinch the middle of the map. There's 2 players on short as well, you can see there for CLG. So this is their whole plan, is just pressure this area. But if any of the extremities get overwhelmed, it is really hard to play back in. And actually, NRG are reading this well, whether they know it or not. This means actually it's very good for them. Cutler's getting really, really under scrutiny, but now FNS is there to support. Cutler, how is he alive? How is he doing this? Where the hell have NRG gone? What? I don't understand how someone can stand out in the middle of the open, have 3 players taking a fight on him, and he still wins it after that much of an extended battle. Fugly and Daps, You've got to get that bomb. You've got to get going. There's so many routes you can take. Fugly going to just take it right through CLG. This is the weirdest pistol round I've ever seen. And now Cutler has to win a 1v2.
With only 6 bullets, unless he swaps to the Glock. But so casual were those reloads. He never seemed to feel the heat. Hung on. And he still stands. Opens the door and gets spotted. Decides to go for the reload, but he's still alive here. 21 points of health and further damage dealt.
That's 1 HP.
Down to 1 with bomb as well on his back. Fugly full bar, but Fugly wants the duel. And Cutler almost catches him as now the bomb's
reading it.
Gonna go to A. He's got this.
Look, Cutler has just lived up to the mechanical reputation I didn't give with him, but you're seeing the smart player. You're seeing his read to this. Daps is so scared now. He's on his own as well. Fugly is not close by, and Cutler knows he has room to work, but can he find Daps in time? Can he locate these players? He needs that clean kill. He spots the bomb, sees the player, but Daps is there first. 1 HP is all he needs. But that was so messy, that round. Credit in the end to NRG just to put their foot down and then break back in, because this is a disaster. These shots coming through right now between Peter and Breeze, that's what you know, that's nightmare material. But then Fugly wins the fight. Him winning that opens up the whole map again.
There's an Negev.
It's cheap. Why not? Just spray it in. Let's watch Peter just spray now. Spray. I think right. This gun is great. And it's really annoying how good it can be. If you just spray for like 3 seconds and then just swing out, you're almost 100%, well not 100%, but you're very accurate with it, so.
I mean, in all seriousness.
Way to be a scumbag, Peter.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
It's kind of greasy.
Yeah.
But Ricky is going to get tagged up first. Falls back with 15. Now, certain maps, you can go for wall bangs with it. Can definitely kind of soften up targets, can cut off avenues, but to just passively wait for a flank with it is kind of weird. If you get peeked right now,
you don't win that.
You literally cannot hit the headshot, so very...
Is it a miss buy, maybe? It's hard to miss by a Negev, though. I don't think it's a miss buy. I don't know. Maybe there's a plan. It's like, it may be... I wouldn't mind someone, like, wallbanging to short with it, you know what I mean? Rather than the molly, just wallbang, because they're pretty cheap. I don't even remember how much did you get for a kill with this thing? I don't remember off the update. I haven't even considered it being a thing. Peter, why have you done this? How very dare you? Now this, I was still trying to think of a way he can use it. I guess just walk in, just holding down mouse button, essentially.
Especially on the T side. I don't understand what his play would have been to go for here. If maybe you want to wall bang out some of the iron walls, but that's not the case. They're just going to start to walk into B. Ethan reveals himself and drops the bomb in the process, but Daps and Breezy, they clear too, and Peter drops the Negev, so gets himself a real gun and the man advantage, but Ricky pops the head of Fugly and immediately back to the 3v3.
Oof. Trying to use the edge of that smoke to his best of his ability, but a scary game you're playing. And now FNS waits as well. There's no kit immediately to hand here for CLG, so if they want to do damage, if they want to get into this, they've got to go quite quick. The only real exit as well for NRG is going to be through Monster. Oh my, Cutler, no! Why would you kill Ricky like this? How could you? It doesn't really matter by this point. The round is over, but they have made it very costly, and NRG do manage to stay alive and stave off the Wolves in this one by getting another on the board. But I don't know about that Negev buy. I don't know what's going on this game.
That was a very weird round.
Yeah.
But it's over now, so we survived it. As did Peter, as did Cutler. Here's a little bit of a TK. Let's see if it's justifiable. Nope, absolutely not.
Did you try and shoot through his arm or something? Cutler. How dare you do this? Cruelty. But it is going to be an eco for CLG here as much as possible. Bit of a Zeus for Ricky. And on the other side, the Mac Daddies are out. 3 Mac 10s, 2 rifles, and a good set of utility. So take over map control, be aggressive. You can just get into people's faces. It's annoying, it's hard to handle, and that's what you got to do.
Literally just jumping around with Mac 10, trying to offset crosshairs when crossing corners over and over, all the way through bathrooms as all 5 players group up towards the A site. Ethan gonna try to duel, but he gets blasted into Tomorrow. Next man towards Optimus Prime, Fugly pops his noggin. That's Kusta down for the count, and Finesse up next, but he's at least been able to take one, and with Breezy on 33, they could still deal further damage here.
It could do. I doubt it, unless Ricky do it. Find one of them. Oh, ANJ. Oh. Oh. NJ is just a little quicker on the trigger. So, a good amount of life left for NRG2. That's the important one, is keep the money up as nice as high as you can. Don't allow CLG to make money off those rounds like that. You know, keep it to a minimum. Don't give them kills. We're at 7-11. Suddenly it's looking like a far more competitive matchup.
But guns back in play. Kusta, glass cannon. No utility off of him either. So he's just looking for an op frag, and he's going to head out towards long A to do so. And find nobody there because NRG have their eyes set towards the B site. Ethan up close, takes the first, dinks the next, but he is dropped out of the equation. Ricky and Finesse unable to find targets through the smoke as the bomb so desperately wants to be planted, and it will be to the 4v4.
You hate to see a MAC-10 being able to take down the M4, but CSGO has rather questionable ways, and as do the holds of NRG in after-plant situations. What was that coming in? Peter having to be forced to take a fight now. Daps and Peter left to find 3 to retain this bomb site control. Time is ticking. First smoke goes in. They know where 1 is, but Daps has a bit of a trick up his sleeve. He has the lineup, he has the angle, and that MAC-10 shoots pretty darn fast. Peter now with the next fight, he loses his, but Daps is going to run in 16 bullets. Oh, Kusta! He lands the shot up close, but he's got to run. Daps did it in the nick of time. And Kusta, no way you're getting out of here alive, no armor, no nothing. It's another round on the board for NRG, and would you believe the MAC-10 is the MVP?
Incredible stuff. I mean, Daps, just even through that smoke, he's got the angle. He's able to constantly pry into the bomb site. Instant removal of the man from the pillar as well. That's just a great kill. He just knows exactly what's going on here. Poor Kusta, able to get, of course, that last frag to his name, but does not escape with the op. So the only weapon in the hands of CLG comes in the form of that ump, and then just some pistols. 2 upgraded, 2 vanilla, and 2 MAC-10s as well joining the party on the other side of NRG, who group themselves up towards the top of spawn and wait for an aggression. They're hoping that CLG play into their hands. They want to see some kind of a push, some type of preemptive strike, but it's Ethan passively hanging on to this angle.
Yeah, he's got Finesse there with him, so they could still make it annoying, but you're playing with MAC-10s, you're kind of wanting these fights. Fugly should be the first in. ANJ should fall back a little bit and let them take control of that corner. But you can see the intention here from CLG. They want to stack this one up, and what? Kusta wins the fight against Daps? Oh, Cutler did damage, that makes sense. Now here comes a swing from Ethan, but ANJ trying to claw this back together. No! CLG win it against the odds. That's a disaster for NRG.
That is a tilting situation at best. Peter going to instantly rebuy into the op. So NRG, luckily for them, are able to reinvest after that, but it's still going to come with limitations. 2 players on only pistols, and this is the first round they've lost in the entire T side. 4 consecutive to an immediate kind of lackluster buy. That's not a good look for them, and obviously the hard reset and full eco on the table, but Ricky gets pushed back. Kusta hangs on to the AK.
Yeah, Cutler there supporting Ricky. You've got to be aware of how these two play off each other. Ricky's going to kind of isolate himself by taking it just over towards long. Cutler really can't take fights in the spot he's in. He's playing off the back by Toilets. You can see ANJ taking full control here now. As soon as the timing for someone like ANJ, if they went underpass to go up those stairs, was there, you saw instantly CLG fall away. They didn't want to have to stick around too long, so that makes sense. So far, NRG building good map control, though. They've shown presence throughout. They haven't just kind of left it wide open. A little bit of a flash behind towards A long. Ricky doesn't really get affected by it. You can see the mollies going out, which, you know, you hear this, you're going to understand that, okay, there's a potential for this to be happening. There's very much an idea of what could be coming through. ANJ just playing on the rotate again. He's just going to be that linchpin at the back. And now, basically, it's down to Cutler and Ricky.
I feel like this setup here from NRG is very reminiscent of when we watch CLG play towards A. Just this kind of, you know, 40-second execution, hoping, of course, that the CTs are yet to rotate over. And honestly, they haven't. Ricky going to feel the heat thanks to the smoke, but he's now safe.
That's the thing, he backed away. He used his utility to fall off this and find a new angle, Whereas you saw Peter before being caught in between. Now the hit comes in, but at least he's alive. At least he's standing for now. And Cutler succeeds, only to find one. But oh, that's a disaster for... Ricky! What is that? A great shot, sure, but it's still going to be a bomb plant for NRG any second now. 3 players standing as well. You've got good after-plant positions coming through. FNS a little late on getting here. Might offset the timing in the back of their heads as Fugly does fall. But FNS takes a lot of damage for that.
FNS could get caught with knife in hand, but Peter as well, up close. The op not gonna shot. Finesse gets another. It is just Daps, 1v2. Tries to isolate the fight, but Ethan catches the flank. And while Daps clears one, that's Ethan with the retake. CLG with a 13th point, and no round win for NRG. No reset on the cards. It's CLG yet again.
What happened on long? Why did Peter have his knife out? Peter, please. What happened between those two? It was like, who's going to mess up the most in that situation? Like, both of them were kind of like knife in hand, running around, and oh my lord. That is not how you want to start losing this game. That's not great.
I mean, if losing to only pistols is the moment that starts to affect you mentally and starts to tilt you, it's those kinds of mistakes that not only upset you individually, right? How did I make that mistake? How did I let that happen? But imagine your teammate who's spectating you at that moment, thinking the exact same thing. So obviously NRG now fighting a uphill battle, but at least they're fighting this battle with 2 primary guns. They've got that AK, they've got that ump, and then they have plenty of utility. So we could see another late execution. I mean, the actual push looked fine.
Yes.
It was the after moments that cost them, but it's Kusta up close, instantly removed. Breeze overwhelms him as Cutler responds with 2 frags, 3 frags, and maybe the 4th! It's just down to Fugly. He's all that remains, but he's able to catch 1 headshot and take it back to the 1v3.
Big moment, Fugly. What have you got for us? Bombs in a less than ideal position. 3 players to get past you. Don't pass the first test, sadly for him. Finesse will find, and it's 14-8. NRG have brought this game back to make it look far better than it was, but you can see Cutler here able to take individual fights on a good few. No one really finding a fight back. Good work to find these 3, and wow, Daps has got to be grumpy about that. Now, they have been able to force this together. They've forged together this purchase for the NRG side, and it should be a quick hit. Looking at what they're putting down, run at it. Just do what you can. And yeah, it is a nice on-the-fly quick hit. Again, I like these ideas. The theory craft is good. Cutler, though, so quick on this. Could he be caught out? Fugly, it's your chance. He does strike. He only gets an SMG for it. It's not exactly what you want. But the better thing is they've won on the site.
And Jay's going to get aggressive as well, tries to create more space as FNS takes it back with 1 frag and the assist thanks to Ricky. But Kusta and Daps trading it yet again. Finesse finding further success as Fugly's all that remains with that retrieved MP9 and a bomb ticking quickly. He catches Finesse in the open, Ethan finds the trade, and CLG will take 15 rounds.
The thing is, I've got to say for NRG, they've got great sight hits. They take these sites really well. They've got like a nice theoried approach, but then it just seems to run out of steam, especially in the buy versus buy rounds when you've got all the guns up. Individually, there's a couple of issues, it feels, but CLG able to hold on very nicely. A couple of players playing back into this very, very well, whether it be Ricky, whether it be Ethan. Cutler actually being one of the players having a big game is a rarity. He's a good player. He's robust. He's solid. You know what I mean? That's the guy I expect from him. I don't expect to see him top fragging, so when he does that, you know, credit to the guy. He's dug deep for that one. Now, NRG again, smokes a molly now. It looks like, again, maybe this B hit's coming through, this time just with rifles. Daps is banking on this first, working out for him, and it does. Great work between him and Peter. The follow-up not so likely as Ricky's still able to stay alive, but Breeze is there. It's down to Ricky to do everything he can, and he can't. ANJ breaks in this time. Smoke goes down towards short, a flash towards CT, and Kusta and Cutler have to play on retake.
Yet again, trying to pinch this bomb site. Now, of course, there's positioning towards short already. And Breeze with a frag grenade by his side's just going to try to hang on here. CLG not forcing this retake. At this point, maybe just looking for exits. There is no kit currently on them. They still have grenades to play. And the frag near Fugly. Molotov to follow suit as Cutler's dwindled down to 17 health. He's deciding to tuck tail. Kusta with the op as well to do the same. So NRG, with another round on the board, needs 6 more consecutive rounds in order to force OT. Now, you mentioned it, of course. Those executions into the B bomb site have been quite nice. Not only when they barrel through the fire, but also when they slow it down. Despite the lack of utility, whatever not, they're still able to win those duels and plant that bomb. If they can continue to do this, then maybe they force the OT, but it is looking dire.
You can see there is so much potential with the NRG boys. You can see it there. It bubbles to the surface every now and then, but just as quickly as it shows, it can disappear. But again, another chance for them, an attempt to come through. Smoke goes in towards stairs, nade to follow. Cutler this time retreats away, so shows a little bit of presence, backs away. It will cost NRG time, essentially, at this point. They have to check close in case anyone actually did commit off the back of this, commit a bit of utility to play back through. And at this point, you want to keep as much as you can, but it's not the end of the world. They'll be fine. 15-9, NRG, as said. Another go at it.
Very passive play from both teams at this point. I mean, ANJ is the most forefront of everyone. Daps seeking information elsewhere. Creeps up to the top of party. Of course, this flash could set them to clear connector, but ANJ just passively waits for a man to join his side. Now, there's nobody inside of short. ANJ is looking to catch someone on the cross, but with an early stack from CLG, it's interesting that they don't get hyper-aggressive. They don't go for that, say, monster push or short connector. They're just content with sitting in the bomb site and allowing for Kusta to rotate the op. As Cutler gets aggressive on long and is traded out by Peter.
Good work from Peter to keep this one at a level playing field, not allowing Cutler to get that double at all. Good awareness. NJ. Flash through towards water. Oh, beautiful work between them. Unraveling that bit of a cheeky crossfire coming in from short. They both were watching. Kusta going to put down the molly to hinder the timing and the approach. He lands the shot, and this now makes things a little bit trickier. There is a chance that this could be stopped, but again, a fragile round for CLG.
Finesse coming in from connector. ANJ just watches for the peak as the bomb is now planted. Peter able to get it. Kusta hoping for the cross back, but ANJ was still over there, so Finesse gets killed and is not traded out. It is just Kusta, and he knows better. At this point, the op is ever so valuable. The money of the CTs has been incredibly bottomed out, and even at this point, we see ANG get aggressive towards long, so he wants to hunt preemptively. And this could really cost CLG. If they have no guns into the next one, we could easily watch NRG find another round or two.
Yeah, no, 100%. If they can tighten up a little bit in some of these rounds, you could see how close they were getting consistently throughout. It kept the money pretty humble for CLG throughout quite occasion. Kusta backhands away NJ. Not going to take his AWP away just yet. He'll keep it to the next one. Again, a couple more rounds for NRG and they're back at this. The money's pretty poor now for CLG, so it does seem like a timeout's coming in. I'm wondering, yeah, that'll be for NRG, I guess. So maybe just talk things through. Keep things in mind. And no timeout. It's already been used. There it is. They don't get more than one. Tough luck, NRG. Get back to work.
Work today should be made simple thanks to the 4 pistols of CLG, but there's always that ever-present op in the hands of Kusta. Now, he does get over towards short control, so that's where he tries to pry and pick, but nobody gives themselves up just yet, so he diverts his attention towards connector. Does have Cutler on the other side of the door, and of course Cutler's sectioned off at this point, but Kusta has the line of sight towards the back halls. ANJ has no idea that death is ever so close.
Cutler's finding the first. Daps goes down. And Kusta now strikes towards ANJ. They're slowly taking over the map here. This... Oh, I pray this isn't the round that NRG suffer on, because they deserve better than going out like this. And look at Breeze, just on the other side. He makes a step, he makes a sound. Finesse will find him. Peter and Fugly on an escort mission, taking that bomb right on through. But again, Finesse can hear a lot of what's going on if they run here. Breeze is taking his time. He's being cautious. He's being smart about this. But who's that on the side? It's going to be Cutler with the rifle. Kusta's not here. Neither is Ethan. So those guys are split away. Breeze now starting to build up FNS is just behind them. This is everything. He spots it all. He sees the whole plan, and he tries to fall away a little too much. You're asking for everything there, FNS. But now down to a 3v2. They've seen the plan. They know what's about to hit, but they get past Ethan. But where are the others? Where's Kusta? Where's Cutler? Where's the stopping power going to come from?
At least they're planting for the opposite side, but Cutler pushes through, tries to stop it in the process, and he gets shut down. So Kusta, 1v2 versus tagged opponents, but he's got the op, and he swaps it out for the AK. Still an incendiary. Could block off the peak, and again, players lit at this point. Kusta making a bit of noise, though. Could reveal himself as NRG doubled down towards dumpster side. Taps the bomb once. And NRG is going to peek. Breezy burns alive. It is just Fugly. And this time, Kusta, he's just going to stick this. Fugly could still stop it, but if he's not quick enough, which he is. Oh, Kusta nearly able to find the full 5 seconds. Ever so close, but it's just not made to be. And honestly, a round that should have never happened in. So for the fact that CLG get that close is lucky. But NRG with another opportunity, 4 more on the board, would force overtime.
God, the timing left on that was second to none. Very, very late in the round to try and keep this one going. And Peter, if only you knew. So close to Kusta, yet so far. 15 rounds still with CLG. They're on a bit of a shoddy by no kits here. 1 molly, couple of smokes, not much stopping power aside from the rifle. That's what they're banking on here. Who's banging out these shots, whereas NRG, they can paint this however they want. This is their canvas to do what with. And we've seen so far it's good from them. They can make some very, very good pieces set into play, but beyond that, it's been very, very tricky, but they have been grinding back these rounds now.
Obviously, this T side from NRG has been much better than their opening half, but not just in regards of scoreline. I think we've also just seen NRG with many tricks. I mean, if you look at the T side that this begun with, it was NRG hitting the B bomb site rapidly, time and time again. And now they've proven their worth in the sense that they can creep out towards A, that they can take connector control and split towards the A site without forcing a fight on party. So Cutler is going to get caught, or at least tries to be, over towards long. It's traded back. Kusta taking one. With the man advantage, CLG will retreat into the bomb site itself. And NRG just left chasing ghosts at this point.
Kusta does now have support. Ricky's come over. You can see the smokes go in. Now, last time, it was Ricky who had the AWP in this position, found it very hard to do much with. He did have a ridiculous no-scope, but Kusta, oh, I almost imagined it was going to happen. Ricky's there, though. Perfect positioning, and it's a matter of time. It's CLG to pick up the first game, 16-11. But there was a fight back. There was a moment where you saw maybe NRG could have done more than what they did. But that first half was so cruel. It was so demanding of them. But you know what, I'm glad to see players like Cutler having a big game here. I want to say specifically, he did very well for himself, making impact plays and fragging incredibly diligently. And I know that sounds almost disrespectful to say it to that sort of degree, but he's not normally that player. There's others to do it, but Cutler had a sick game. He had so much stopping power throughout the vast majority of that. I was so impressed.
I mean, as you said, right, it's just not his spot because it's the Kusta, Ricky, and Ethan show, generally.
Yeah.
While Cutler is always, I'd say, arguably impactful with the kills he gets.
Absolutely.
Just never plentiful. So that's awesome to watch. Greatly done by him. And honestly, greatly done by NRG to at least try and bring that one back. They certainly got the respectable scoreline. There was a breath of life to their T side after a rough start. But I mean, that rough start on the CT side started with a immediate economic reset. It was not good for them in any way, shape, or form, but at least they got some rounds on the board.
They did, and the way they were actually playing out on their T side was actually pretty nice as well. As I said, they had some really nice executes. The site hits were pretty diligent. It's just a shame that so many awkward situations happened. So many clutches just didn't go their way. Hopefully they can reset, but you know, at the end of the day, CLG just played a better game. I think, as I said, if you come into Overpass against these guys, you need a plan in mind.
I think that also what at least impressed me was the amount of difference in their execution on the T side from NRG, right? Again, they were hitting up that B site right from the get-go, and they were doing it quickly. They slowed down the pace. They changed targets. It's at least showing us, of course, that they have that level of communication for a new roster. Remember, of course, ANJ has just been brought in. This is their first LAN event. It's his first or his highest stage of competition as well. So they have so many variables working against them, and they're still managing to put 11 rounds on the board against one of the best North American teams.
Speaking of the best North American teams, let's speak to the guy who's kind of at the helm these days, taking over many roles, a man with many trades to do, but all we know is he won the first game. FNS on the stage with Stunner.
That's right, I'm standing by right now with FNS, them coming off their opening victory here at DreamHack Valencia. Talk to me a little bit about domestic matchups here on foreign soil.
You know, when you play teams from NA, it's really, it's always a toss-up, even though you feel like you're better than them. Even if it's like Cloud9, doesn't matter, Optic, NRG, everyone's like comfortable playing against each other. So at the end of the day, it's like usually a toss-up.
Well, you guys are out there looking really well prepared against NRG. And the buzz in the community now is that you've lost your coach. What is the team vibe like now?
Obviously, it's a pretty big blow to us losing Chet, but I mean, I've kind of taken over most of the demo watching and stuff ever since he's been gone. So yeah, we're still having an application out there if anyone wants to, you know, apply. It's nice.
Yeah, I think that's probably some of the best advertising you could have possibly done. Going forward, you guys are going to be playing the winner of Red Reserve and NIP. Who are you looking forward to matching up against?
I really want to play NIP and beat them just because I've never beaten them in my career. I played them like 2 or 3 times, I think. Twice at a major, and yeah, that would be nice if we could beat them.
Well, indeed. I'm going to throw it back over the desk now. Congratulations again, FNS.
Thank you so much. They said it usually between NA teams it could be a toss-up, but that didn't feel like much of a toss-up there. They were dominant for much of that match. What can you guys take away from that?
I mean, first takeaway is that, again, CLG just stable performance, kind of what we expected out of them, and there's still a few issues to be worked out for NRG. They still had multiple rounds where they come into, you know, the afterplan advantageously. They simply do it like the approach is correct. It's just individual mistakes at a time that, you know, you shouldn't see at this kind of a level that messed things up for them. But honestly, the way they fought back in the second half was, you know, just a sign of life, a show of promise. So it's not all doom and gloom for them. They're still early days. So. Yeah, no, but it kind of just progressed as I would have expected, especially when you end up on a map like Overpass.
Yeah, talking about not being all doom and gloom, the light at the end of the tunnel for NRG was their resident Dane. He really impressed, really, at ANJ, right?
Yeah, he played well. As pretty much the only player, I'd say, like there was a few mistakes from NRG, like in individual mistakes, but overall it was just like a lackluster team performance. They didn't play as well as I expected at all. They need more time. It was like clear to see in some of the like compositions and the way they hit the side, and especially the A defense as well. That was like horrible throughout the whole game. CLG pretty much just walked up and did whatever they wanted. So it was an NRG who needs more time, and as you can see, like on the scoreboard as well, it's like you have 3 players going off and then 2 guys not there at all, you know. So it was just like the team combination, the team composition wasn't there. I
think that's where you see the issue as well with how big of a swing it is to have Peter on form and not. Especially you said, you know, the A defense from NRG not really holding up to par, and part of that is because whenever Peter gets an op in his hand, like it's natural for him to try to go aggressive, try to see if he can find that first pick to kind of ease off the pressure from the T side. So when he's not able to actually make any sort of connections or actually alleviate any pressure on the CT side, and they have to fall back passively and kind of just play it off of crossfires, that's extremely tough to do, especially when you're stuck with an op in that kind of a situation. So if you can't find anything until they're close up towards the bomb site, you're going to have a rough time. We even saw CLG struggling with that. I saw Ricky, when he was posted up towards long, missing a lot of shots, then getting overran by pistols. Same thing with Kusta a couple of rounds after. So it's really tough on a CT side if you can't actually do anything with that op initially, and we saw CLG take full advantage of that.
Yeah. Requires so much team play in order to like hold that A side when you sit passively, and as we saw, like NRG didn't have it at all, which was partly why the A was so lackluster.
So what's the discussion going to be like now within the NRG team, because they're not out, it's dual brackets, double elimination.
They're going to go.
Yeah, what are they going to talk about now? Because they all need to turn up if they are going to stay in this tournament, right?
Yeah, no, I think you can expect a better performance from both Peter and Breeze. Honestly, the 2 of the more consistent performance for them, at least you know, on a regular basis. So I think that's going to kind of solve itself. But obviously, they need to rework things as to how they approach the A-bomb side. They need to have a backup plan, really, if they can't find the initial pick on the CT side when Peter has an off. They actually need to have something planned out for what they're going to do, because it's like you said, for crossfires on a passive A-hold needs to be almost picture perfect. And that was very clear that NRG didn't really have any sort of clear idea of how they wanted to set that up, how they wanted to have the complements of people coming in from rotating off from B, flashing over for the guys on A. Like, none of that seemed planned out at all. So that's just a very easy thing to grab a hold of. As for their T side, I honestly think they had like a pretty decent approach as to how varied they were and what bomb sites they were attacking, how they were getting map control and so on. So I don't think they need necessarily to focus too much on that as of right now. But still just 1 out of 7 maps, right? So they still might have other picks that they can rely on more heavily.
Yes, CLG on top of their game here. Finesse saying in his interview, we want to play against NiP. We want to beat NiP. We like that. Their confidence is booming. Yeah, chat a little bit about CLG and how they'll be feeling going into the rest of this tournament. And also, do we think that they can go the whole hog and beat NiP, who are the favorites so far?
I think it's early to say. Like, we knew CLG was a great team on Overpass, so I wouldn't take too much into this win yet. And we knew NRG was a bit scratchy, you know. So I'm looking forward to a potential CLG NiP match, and that could tell us potentially how far CLG can go. Can they beat NiP? Then yes, they can go the whole way. They can win the tournament, because NiP are probably the most clear favorites attending right now. But as of now, I'd say it's a great start for CLG. They need to stay focused and potentially go up in a best-of-3 loser match if they were to lose to NIP in a winners match, you know, because I wouldn't say CLG is a team that you'd expect by now to go through as the first team.
Cool. Any final thoughts about this matchup?
I mean, for CLG, I mean, let's say the most likely thing occurs and they play NIP in their winner match. I think the one benefit they have is that they have at least a more proven map pool than NIP do at the moment. Obviously, the Cologne, we saw NIP play really well on Cash, but that was pretty much it. We didn't get to see them being tested on too many maps really in that tournament before they ran or went out. So I think that's one of the benefits the CLG might have going up against them. So I mean, there's a reason for them to be confident. They're able to take maps off of teams like SK and best of 3. So NIP definitely doable.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks for analyzing that match. Very soon, we do have Misfits playing Heroic. We're going to go to a quick break very soon. But first, I want to talk to you a little bit about Strafe Esports. It's an app where you can find out everything that's happening to do with this tournament, the players that are playing here. If you've got your favorite player, you can tag them and find out what they're doing, which tournaments they're going to be at. And you can also vote on who you think will be winning all of the games here at DreamHack ASTRO Open in Valencia. Take a look at that, and we'll be back very soon after this break.